What's up, Final fans? It's the Warrior of Hype. Oh yeah, the excitement is building up here, but there's one thing. This is this quote from the director, Naoki Hamaguchi, the director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, says when regarding the world map. That's a great question. That's something I really wanted people to ask me. What we've done is we've taken the world map from the original Final Fantasy VII, but we've created it all in 1-to-1 real scale. So all of the dungeons, all of the cities, everything in that world is now included in the same space. One seamless map. Okay. So this is something that I've been marinating in, you know what I mean? I've been letting it soak inside of me. I am so hype about this, but I got little questions here, and I got to thinking about Final Fantasy VII Remake and Midgar and the size of that map, and I know that map is pretty large. So I got questions here. So what I'm going to do in this video is kind of explain both sides. Like, hey, this is real. It's going to be one seamless, large, open world map, and this is how it's going to look, or how it could look. And then I'm going to flip the coin and be like, I think it's going to go this way, and I think this might be a little misconstrued in a way. But anyways, so let's take a look at the world map to get started. This is a special thank you to Cosmo Canyon Observatory. That is at CC_observatory. So many fantastic observations going on over there. A lot of great analysis that are posted right there on their Twitter account. So go check that out. But kind of curated this amalgamation of all of the map shots that we got from the trailers, and then put it all together for one giant map of the Eastern continent. Of course, it's missing Midgar but we can see so many things with this world map. We can see Calm integrated right there in the world map, which is right off the bat. I gotta point that out because it does support what we're all thinking that Hamaguchi-san said about it being one large, seamless open world. So that does support that being, you know, the city is right there inside of the world map, which is very, very cool, very impressive. And then when they fast traveled to the city, I paid close attention to make sure the destination marker didn't change, and it did. It was still the same distance from Calm to the Swamplands, which was the destination at the time. I think it was. But either way, really, really cool that you can see Calm right there in the world map. You got Chocobo Bill's farm right here, and then a bunch of other points of interest that I'm going to get to in just a second, but you can see the paths leading to different things, and just, you know, there's Junon over here. But here's the thing, though, you know, like this fog that gets cleared away as you explore. Well, I wanted to enhance it, and I think when you enhance it, you get a nice view of the topographic. You get a much better look at it, right? So, like, not enhanced. Now you can kind of see the little, you know, look at this pops out a whole lot more than than before. It's like, whoa, that's a point of interest. One point of interest that really stuck out to me was that V-shaped mountain that was in the Summer Game Fest trailer that we've all were kind of speculating that could be the entrance to the Mithril Mines. I never really thought that, but it is located. Now that we see it, you can see the Swamplands are here, and there's the V-shaped mountain. Still don't believe that is the entrance to the Mithril Mines. And I'm going to pop up some locations there right now. You got Calm, Bill's Chocobo Farm, the point of interest, the V-shaped mountain. And then, yeah, there you go. The Mithril Mines entrance I'm putting down here, as this is the Swamplands. I think you take this path, you follow it down into the Mithril Mines. And then from the Mithril Mines all the way to what has been confirmed as the exit of the Mithril Mines over here. which is weird because I would have sworn that this would be the exit of the Mithril Mines, especially when you enhance it. It just looks like there's an exit there. I thought this was it. But this is where they exit out of the Mithril Mines. Maybe there's 2 different exits. I don't think that would be the case, unless if maybe there's like a secret dungeon that you... Oh, maybe there's a dungeon you can go into that maybe takes you deeper into the Mithril Mines, which, oh my god, would that confirm my what to expect video? I just thought of that off the top of my head. Either way, though, yeah, I think this could be back into the Mithril Mines, but we are exiting out of right here, confirmed in the gameplay demonstration of Junon area that a lot of creators got their hands-on experience with. Now, from the Mithril Mines, you got the under Junon here, and of course Junon. I put Fort Condor right here, and when you do the enhance, you can really see that pop. That fort really popping, you know, bam, pop. And then, to be fun, I put the Temple of Ancients down here. Now you might be like, whoa, that's a little close, right? I don't think you're going to be able to swim there. I think when they were swimming in the gameplay demonstration, I believe that was over to these islands here, these little land masses. But either way, I think they were able to swim in this shallow water. I don't think they're going to be able to go any further. And Fort Condor, well, Red 13 says that there's no way to get across the bridge right now to Fort Condor. So I don't think you're even going to be able to get to Fort Condor right away anyways. Maybe that's a later in the game type thing where you're able to get to the Temple of Ancients, maybe using the tiny Bronco to cross. But either way, I put Temple of Ancients here because of this. When I bring up the world map, you can see that they've really changed the shape of the continent here. They've changed the shape of the continent while still holding true to certain aspects of it. You can see like this, you know, you can almost see the remnants of this this shape here. Kind of come up, boom, boom. You know, you got the shape there. This is all new. This little land. You know, people are going to correct me in the comments. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a freaking geographer. But yeah, either way, like kind of comes into this like bay, and then you kind of come down here, and it falls apart. It kind of falls apart, right? We're like, whoa, is this Medil? Is this the Temple of Ancients area? But we don't know. They did manage to keep the like this. This is where the submarine would park in the original game. You can see right there. Oh no, right here. Sorry, the submarine would park right there, and I think they kind of kept that a little bit, or either that or it's right there. But yeah, so you can see that it's trying to be it, but it's also condensed and crammed in, and you can, you know, understand that it makes a whole lot of sense for an open world game for them to kind of cram things together. And that's cool. Kind of very reminiscent of the overworld map of Final Fantasy VII, the original game. You know, Cloud's gigantic, running around in the little tiny towns. It kind of gives you that feeling all over again. Because I explained in that one video I made, which is kind of a counter argument to that video, or maybe even supporting that video a little bit more, that there's this Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will not be open world. That was a video I made maybe 2 years ago. So I'm either going to be proven entirely wrong, which I will be so happy about. Trust me, I will be very happy about that. But 1-to-1 scale is definitely throwing me off, throwing me for a loop. Now, even if you go 1-to-1 real life scale, there's absolutely no way, because there was a sign in Midgar that said Calm was 50 miles away. Barrett said it was going to be a full day's walk to Calm. So obviously we're not going to be walking a full day over to Calm in game. So that was kind of what I meant by that. Now, gamify it, condense it down, cram things in, gives you that overworld type feel. Yeah, I like it. I like it. But it still doesn't add up to me when you say 1-to-1, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment, so hang with me. Let's talk about, now that we have the locations pointed out, you know I got to add my distance, and you know I got to do math. You know I got to do the math. I'm the map guy. So let's do the math. Here we go. From the gameplay demonstration recently of the grasslands area, when you exit Calm, it is exactly 944 meters to Bill's Chocobo Farm. So 944 meters, I'm able to draw this bar here. I'm able to take this bar and move it around where I like to. But it does match up very nicely with the Summer Game Fest trailer saying that there was 928 meters to the objective, which I'm assuming is the exit of the Mithril Mines. So they're somewhere within the Mithril Mines at that point. It does line up pretty well. We do know that it's 550 meters from the Mithril Mines exit to Under Junon from the gameplay demonstration that the creators got their hands on, content creators got their hands on. Now, 550 meters does line up really well with about halfway of this bar. So cool, it all works out. Hey, Junon is almost exactly 944 meters wide. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and let's see. Oh, and then 944 meters from coast to coast. Just kind of thought that was a cool way to put it in perspective for you. But taking 944 meters, that bar, and then just taking that bar and just multiplying it all the way down gives me approximately 5,564 meters from top to bottom, and then approximately 3,304 meters side to side. That's when you take that, well, you can bring up your calculator and you can do 5,664 times 3,304. That gives you an area of 18 kilometers squared, nearly 19 kilometers squared. Now, do we have anything that we can put to that? Yeah, I got you guys. What is about 19 kilometers squared? So we go over here. Well, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is at about 16.1 kilometers squared, thanks to global data for this video here that they posted. Now, of course, I don't know if I didn't fact check that or anything, but I'm just going off the video now. But if you've played Metal Gear Solid 5, this kind of gives you a rough idea of what the Eastern Continent is. Not the entire map, just the Eastern Continent without Midgar. That's pretty cool, because you have to do that at least again, and probably bigger, since the Western Continent is bigger than the Eastern Continent. At least in the original game it was. So, wow. And then you have a Northern Continent, and you have the islands around it. Oh, this is going to be a huge game, and we're going to talk about that more in just a second. Yeah, so before we dive into 1-to-1, what director Naoki Hamaguchi said, being a 1-to-1 seamless open world, let's take a look at that. Let's figure that out. Just one moment before we get there, because I kind of want to throw my 2 cents in there. Let's get rid of that. I want to throw in some areas. There we go. I kind of sectioned it out in areas for you. You got the Midgar area up here. You have an explorable area. It's either the grasslands or Midgar, and you're wondering what do you mean by explorable, and why didn't you spell it right? The grasslands area right here, and then the swamplands. You got the Junon area, which takes up all of this, and then I sectioned out the Mithril Mines and Fort Condor, of course. Now, I wrote down explorable area because if what I think is true, I'm kind of thinking that these are going to be large areas interconnected on a gigantic open world map. And by that I mean, maybe when you get the high wind, you're able to fly over these mountains, but I don't know if you're going to be able to walk over them. I don't know if this is This is going to be a whole bunch of nothing here. I think this is all just mountains. And I don't know if you're going to be able to, as Cloud, to walk over these mountains or even get a chocobo up there and run across these mountains freely. I think this is just going to be off limits. And maybe when you get the high wind, you can fly over it and everything's cool. But I think this is the explorable area of Junon. You can explore all of this, and then of course Fort Condor. And then when you go into the Mithril Mines, you're underground for that. And yeah, the grasslands matches up perfectly with what they said, 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. That works out perfectly. And yeah, I even I said, yeah, maybe you get to go into the Midgar area because it looked a little more dry and not as grassy. And then of course there is this tower here that you can go hit. So I should have extended that out. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to point that out there. And then also, I think this is where it's going to close off. I don't think you're going to be able to go up here towards Midgar. They even say that in the Grasslands gameplay demo presentation. They kind of say, we're not coming back here for a while because of the Gelnikas that were flying around. And they're just like, ooh, that's not good. We can't go back. Which Barrett's happy not to go back. But you can see like the kind of the highway actually, it kind of goes back. Now if I get rid of the areas, you can see the highway kind of going back to Midgar. And then I don't know what it does here. It kind of falls apart here, which is weird. And then it leads into Calm. But yeah, so the highway leading back to Midgar. All right, now that's enough of that. You guys want me to talk about the 1-to-1 and what the heck am I going on about 1-to-1? So I made a video a while back, and we'll talk about that now. Made a video a while back explaining how I think the world of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be bigger than Final Fantasy 15, and just based on how the 11,000 meters to objective from that trailer from Summer Game Fest with Yuffie, and you can see the 11,000 meters. So we know the world is at the very least 11,000 meters, which is double what we came up with in this one. It's double what we came up with. Now, come on, go back. From Sector 5 Undercity Church to the Sector 6 Undercity Evergreen Park, that is approximately 1,500 meters. That is almost double the length, or at least 500 meters more than Calm to the Chocobo Farm. Just to put that in perspective for you. I'm about to blow this out of proportion for you guys. That's 1,500 meters. It was only 944 meters from Calm to Chocobo Farm. So, let's go back and let's take a look at what I think the map could look like at 1-to-1. And here we go one more time. This image is actually coming from the Material Ultimania, which I will bring up now. This is the Material Ultimania of the map of Midgar. And they conveniently provided the meters and how big this is. So now we know that Midgar's circumference is 5,000 meters. The main pillar itself is 1,000 meters. Just the main pillar is the distance from Calm to the Chocobo Farm. So this is getting kind of crazy, right? Well, I decided to put this in perspective in terms of like, well, here's what that looks like on the world map, and this is what it looks like in comparison. This is to scale to the continent that we've seen. And you're wondering why I tilted the continent down like that? Well, once again, thank you to @CC_observatory. That's Cosmo Canyon Observatory. Pointed out that the Chocobo Farm, on the sign when you enter right here, you can see the compass is kind of tilting north right there, showing that the tower is about northeast from where it's about north of from where they're looking. They come up here. Cosmo Canyon Observatory points out that, well, this is how it lines up, and then, well, if that's the tower, then the compass is actually reading like this, which means if you adjust and you tilt this, you have to tilt the map and it has to face down, which means Junon's sister ray cannon is facing south, which is weird because it's facing west in the original game. So that is a very interesting find. Thank you, Cosmo Canyon Observatory. So I adjusted accordingly, but this is what the map looks like. I kind of put the other continents around it to kind of give you an idea of what this map could look like if it is 1-to-1 true scale. All the cities and everything is in this thing fully explorable. This is what that would look like. Yeah, looks kind of weird. I even kind of got the approximately 15,000 by 13,000 meters, which gives you a 199. Excuse me. 195 kilometers squared as the area, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey is about 235 kilometers squared, but we want something that looks a little bit better. So The Witcher 3 is 136 kilometers squared. So it has been done before. All right, it's not unheard of to have a map that size, but it just looks weird to have Midgar taking up more of the size of the continent, which, hey, Midgar's a superpower if you ask me. If it's bigger than the continent, it's a superpower. It's just not the way that it would be depicted in the real world of Final Fantasy VII. Is, I'm trying to explain it, so like as in like a CG cinematic, we've seen the bird flying through, and we've seen Midgar out in the distance, and we've seen that it's just chilling in the middle of a desolate land. So it doesn't take up an entire continent. It's right there. To gamify it, if they want everything in the same world, 1-to-1 scale, open up, this is what it looks like. I personally just don't see that happening. And once again, just to in case if you don't believe me, 1,000 meters, this is the size of the main pillar. And if I line it up like this, go from calm, it lines up right to the Chocobo farm. You know? It's kind of crazy, man, if you to think of it that way. This is what it would roughly look like. So now I kind of want to show you what I think is going to happen. What I think would happen is something a little more like that, whereas Midgar is still very big, but it's not the size of a continent. It's still plenty of land around it. And it's not 1-to-1 scale on the world map. There's a couple things that go against that. Obviously, going directly against Hamaguchi in his exact words. that I feel like, why am I arguing against this? I just feel like it was misconstrued in a way. And I kind of want to point that out now, in case if later on down there, they're like, oh, yeah. No, this is what we really meant. That's one of the things that goes against what I'm trying to say. And then also the other thing that goes against what I'm trying to say is that Junon is right here, built into the world map. Calm, built into the world map. But Midgar just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like I tried to explain with the 1,500 meters just from one, this is just one sector of Midgar. Or two sectors of Midgar. But yeah, you know, you get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm trying to say here. I think I've made my point in this video. And I think if it looks like this, the way that I think it could work is that, say, once you get open access to kind of going back here and you're able to go this way, it'll say you're entering Midgar, like a little pop-up. You are now entering Midgar, yes or no? And if you hit yes, then you're transported into the fully realized city that we know from Remake, and you can see it when you're battling over here. You can see Midgar off in the distance, and it's kind of nestled within some nice mountains, which is a great gaming logic, like game developer logic, to kind of hide the scale of something off in the distance. It still looks massive, but it's also kind of like you'll have to cross a certain threshold before you're able to go to that city. And if they do that with Midgar, who's to say they won't do it with other things like the gold saucer? That's another big one. But really, Midgar is the only one that just kind of pops out to me, as in, like, that's the only one that I think they would have to do a dotted line. Like, you have to, like, you cross this threshold, you go into the city, yes or no. That's the only thing that I can think of, unless if they put it on the world map this size, so it looks large and you're able to fly over it once you get the high wind in the next game, or you're able to kind of see it. I just don't think you're able to go to this area at all anyway. The high wind's going to be in the next game. The tiny Bronco can't fly, so I just don't think you're going to be able to do a nice little flyby, or, you know, fly over Midgar. So maybe they just avoid that altogether. They just avoid this area altogether, and everything else is 1-to-1 scale. Maybe everything else is 1-to-1 scale, and Midgar just isn't. Like, Midgar just isn't there. It's not even accessible, which is how the original game was anyway. So that is a suggestion there. So that kind of the combination of two things. That's a compromise. That's my compromise for you. It's still going to be 1-to-1 scale. Everything's cities, dungeons, everything's within the one world map, with the exception of Midgar. I don't think it's going to look like that. I don't think so. So, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this crazy video. I got more stuff coming. And yeah, if you did, I don't know, maybe let me know that you subscribed. Maybe let me know that you liked it. Comment what you think about what I just said. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. I always look forward to reading your comments. So thank you so much for watching this video. Take care now. Bye-bye then.